Race fans, welcome back to the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. It's been a busy day already. A couple of practice sessions for both USF2000 and USF Pro 2000. And the pro drivers getting their qualifying run in as well to set the grid for the first of two races here this weekend. It's time to qualify, though, for USF2000. We have a tremendous group of drivers, 5 drivers returning, sophomores, but a huge rookie crop going after the Rookie of the Year and maybe even the championship as well, because there are some fantastic drivers in there. All through testing, of course, we've seen drivers be quick, but this is when it counts. This is the first official session to set the grid for race number 1. We're about set to roll and get things underway. Qualifying for USF 2000 up now.
You can feel confident Continental is the smart choice in tires.
Can they handle extremes?
Yep. Tested from the Texas desert to near the Arctic Circle.
Really?
Really.
Anything for the guy who finds that one pothole?
Yeah, road hazard coverage has your back.
For real?
Absolutely.
Were they made by, like, a bajillion engineers?
Well, closer to 100. Continental. Welcome to the smart choice in tires.
Oh, indeed. Time to get things underway here for the drivers in USF 2000. Once again, my name is Rob Howden, joined in the booth here for this year's Grand Prix of St. Petersburg by the voice of the race, Todd Lewis, and getting things underway finally with qualifying for the drivers in USF 2000. USF Pro 2000 drivers had a very strong morning, no doubt about that. Clean and green through a full practice session, and only at the very last lap did we have a red flag for driver Elliot Cox going off in turn number 4. You will be bet there'll be a lot of drivers who are back in the paddock telling their engineers and team owners that I was on a flyer. I had a purple lap. I was going 5/10 up on the field on that last lap that they didn't get to finish, as we checkered early. But the bottom line is you got to get all the laps in. The penultimate lap, don't give it up. Yeah, sure, the last lap's probably going to be the best. The car's low on fuel. You're ready to lay one down. But you got to make sure you at least get 2, because in these qualifying sessions for the USF Pro Championships, you need 2 laps. The fastest lap in the session will set the grid for race 1. The second fastest lap for race number 2. So you might as well lock up 4 or 5 good laps in a row just in case that red does come out late, as it did in USF Pro 2000. Todd Lewis, not quite as good of a start in practice for USF 2000. A couple of red flags for 2 separate incidents, but the driver's still able to get a lot of laps in. I think 19 laps in total for a majority of the field there in practice earlier today.
Yeah, a couple of incidents, but a couple of quick cleanups by the AMR safety crew to get those vehicles out of the way and try to give these USF 2000 drivers as many laps as possible. And just watching some of them as they're going down the long front straightaway, weaving just a little bit, get a little bit more temperature into these tires. Again, try to get them up to temperature and maximum efficiency quickly, because again, it's the 20 minutes of guaranteed green in this session. Won't necessarily go for 30 minutes, and you never know what we might see in terms of strategy here as well.
We'll take the opportunity to say hello to those of you who are tuned into the USF Pro Championships YouTube page, or maybe watching on your mobile device on the Series app. We know we have a number of people watching from over in the UK. Of course, Liam McNeely getting ready to roll out here. Number of you early morning as well over in New Zealand and Australia. Your drivers here as well. Again, a couple of drivers from New Zealand and Australia. Awesome to have so much international flavor in the program again here in 2025. This weekend's USF 2000 race is brought to you by the Foundation Building Products. Great to have them trackside with us here. Guests from, of course, the Foundation Building Products and from Anderson Interior Contracting. And again, a great way to start off the season. Beautiful day, 71 degrees trackside. You can see a bit of a breeze there. A great shot as they came down the front straightaway. A little bit of a breeze. Blue skies, potentially a little cloud, not much at all, and it is going to be an absolutely gorgeous day. Being told a red flag as we have a driver who's parked it on the outside of turn number 10. So in that left-hander, hard-braking left-hander, a driver has gone off. I believe that is going to be the number 2 machine of Thomas Schrag, the VRD driver, overcooking it into that corner. So we were just getting things rolling And Thomas Schrag's going to climb out of that one. Indeed, that's not an incident you're going to be able to pull away from. When you roll into that corner, you're deep on the brakes. You're really, to be honest, Todd, you're back on throttle mid-corner. This isn't a braking corner where you kind of roll through and kind of have to wait and wait. Literally, you're getting that braking done early. You're releasing and rolling, and you want to be back onto full throttle. The earlier you're on the throttle there, the more speed you're going to pick up, because it's just through the chicane 11 and 12 over to 13, the hairpin after that.
Yeah, and this is a corner that we have seen catch a number of drivers out at different points over the years here on the streets of St. Petersburg. Sometimes if you realize that you have carried too much speed into that corner, there's a great runoff area. Yeah. You can take advantage of it. Obviously, Thomas Schrag did not, and the contact was significant. It's going to take a couple of seconds to clear this up. So, again, now we've just gotten a lap or two in, and everybody's going to return to pit lane and just have to wait and see what the session holds.
Two things to set the stage here. A 30-minute session, 20 minutes of green flag running. If we do go clean and green through, it's only 20 minutes, but we do have a 30-minute window to get 20 minutes of green in. So that's why they see at the top there, we've got the clock stopped here now at 17:17. Let's unpack this, though, right now for a guy like Thomas Schrag, who's likely for the first time going to get a full season racing for VRD Racing. One qualifying session, fast lap, second fast lap. He's going to be at the tail of the field for both races. A mistake like this in qualifying this early, did he even turn a lap? I think he didn't even get one lap in. So here's the one thing he'll be able to do. So right now, he'll be at the tail of the field. He'll start in the 19th spot for race number 1, which happens later on today. Again, that event set to go this afternoon at about 4:30. That'll be the first of 2 races for USF2000. They'll race in the early afternoon tomorrow. He will have an opportunity, Todd, this afternoon to turn a fast lap. Whatever his fastest lap in the race, he'll be able to use that for race number 2. So in qualifying, your fastest lap is race 1. Your second fastest lap, provisionally race 2, unless you go quicker in the race itself. If you go faster, you're able to substitute that lap for the second fastest lap in qualifying. So we are going to have a look at what happened here for Thomas Schrag, folks, as we just got rolling here. Watch these drivers coming through, and this is just going to be a cold tire mistake, I would expect. But move back here to Schrag. Looks like he just missed the turn-in point a little bit and was too wide and outside, couldn't get it woed up. And that'll be some pretty aggressive right front damage to the VRD number 2. And again, that's not something you would expect out of Thomas Schrag, a veteran driver who has won F1600 championships, part of the Team USA scholarship program. He was on the podium last year as well in Portland. Really a talented driver to Bethel, Ohio, just having a little mistake, minor miscue, cold tires. If you just push that braking zone a little too deep and you can't get the car pointed down to the apex, looks like he was about a car width off of the apex.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. As mentioned, that's a driver with experience, and it's just, again, understanding that there's only 20 minutes. I've got to get 2 good laps, and just probably got a little bit over-anxious a little bit too early, unfortunately.
And again, remember this as well. As I said before, during practice, you're allowed to use a carryover set of tires. We were at NOLA Motorsports Park last weekend for our spring training event. It rained out on Sunday, but the drivers did get 2 sessions done on Saturday. One of the sets that they used on that Saturday, one of the sessions, they're able to carry that over, so they're not using brand new tires for the practice session. That said, they have to go to fresh rubber for qualifying. You can only use that carryover set for the practice run. So everybody rolling out on the sticker Continental tires, and indeed that's the issue that we had there with Thomas Schrag off in turn number 10, and that is, of course, as I said, going to put him way behind the 8 ball to get this weekend underway. And remember that, too, the damage, of course, on the other side of the race car. This crew now has probably about 2.5 hours, potentially not even that, to get this car put back together. That's not major damage. One of the things about these race cars, as we know, is there are points on the racetrack, on the car itself, that'll be the pressure points. They'll be your breakout points where if you hit a wall, it's not going to bend the tub. It's just going to shear off those points on the mounting for the wishbones.
Pop in the new pieces, and then they'll be ready to go again as the green flag waves, and everybody departs pit road to see if there's any heat left in those tires or whether they're going to start the heat cycle process once again.
So, again, one of the big things about USF2000 this year, those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we apologize for not having the feed up for practice earlier today. IMSP was putting all that together, getting all the little T's crossed and the I's dotted, everything in position. Now we're ready to go. We've even got some moving cameras, which is tremendous to have as part of our coverage here this weekend. But the bottom line is we have a bunch of rookies. Sometimes there's 4 or 5 or 6 rookies. 12 12, I believe, 12 or 13 rookies. I said Baker's dozen before because we added Ryan Janetta. So 13 rookies in the program this year in USF2000. Just the 6 drivers coming in as sophomores. So, man, this is fraught with peril, if you will.
Well, and now the emphasis for these drivers remaining is, remember, the clock stopped. You didn't lose any time because of that red flag. Just go back out, get back on your program, get yourself a good lap, a good starting point lap, and then see if you can improve a little bit.
20 minutes, as I said, but Todd, 2.5 minutes wasted because that was what they were getting out there. They were just doing the out laps. They were trying to scrape off the tires. Remember, brand new tires right out of the mold, have a bit of a grit on the outside, a bit of the release compound to allow the tire to come out of the mold. That's still on the tire. It takes a couple of laps for them to clean up and get to where they want to be. And again, I talked about the fact that these Continentals are really good throughout the whole life of a session. You're going to have your fast laps at the very end, so don't make the mistakes early. Wait till the end. Although we did see in USF Pro 2000, Todd, teams come in halfway through, put fresh rubber on. Would not be surprised to see it here as well, although this particular red flag early may change that strategy.
It may impact what you're able to do. So, again, it's go out, see what you've got right now, get at least one good lap in, and then see where you are. It may take a few laps to get the tires back up to temperature. It may not allow for a tire change in the middle of this session.
What do they call it? Get that banker lap in, right? Get that one lap in. You can push it a little later, but get that one good banker lap in so there's something that we can fall back on if a red flag comes out early, if we lose a bunch of time. Make sure you get a couple of good laps in. That's why, really, the focus, and every driver will tell you, you maximize every lap, and the way you can maximize. You don't maximize lap 1, 2, and 3 to get fast lap. You maximize it. You optimize by building heat of the tire on a slow level, picking up your turn in and your exit points, getting a feel for the racetrack again, especially as a rookie. You've only been on it one time for a 25-minute run, right? They had a couple of red flags. Refamiliarize yourself with the track, the car, the feel. It's about 5 or 6 degrees warmer than it was when you were on track for practice this morning. Do all the stuff you need to do. Put that banker lap in, and then go to work.
Many of the teams are very experienced. Listen to what they are telling you and understand that, yes, we know what it's going to take to get these tires up to temperature so that you can put in those faster laps towards the end of the session.
So, of course, everybody coming in here, the big thing last year was we made the move from Cooper tires to Continental. So Continental tires were kind of the unknown coming to St. Petersburg last year. Everybody getting a feel for that. So all the data into how the car handles on a street circuit here at St. Peter or at Toronto with the Continental tires. Well, this year we took out the restrictor on these cars. We had a restrictor plate in the USF2000 cars. They were cranking out about 180 horsepower. Well, Elite Engine's taking the restrictor out. Adjustments made, 200 horsepower. Top end's going to be a lot more. It doesn't affect the bottom end quite as much, but a lot more top end speed, and we're really going to see that when we get to Road America. I can't wait to see those things hustling down into turn number 1.
Oh, yes, that's going to be fun. That's G3 Argyros and Caleb Gaffrar, who are nose to tail. That's working together going down the long straightaway. 2 cars are faster than one.
Liam McNeely on top right now with a 112.813. Caleb Gaffera now running in the second spot. Joshua Leonel in third. Here goes Jack Jeffers, the driver to San Antonio, Texas. First year in the program. He did run here last year. It's 2 years in USF Juniors full-time. He did run here last year to start off the season in preparation for this weekend here. Jack Jeffers running for Exclusive Autosport, the number 92 machine. He is P1. Moves Sebastian Garzone to the top, the champion of this past year's Lucas Oil Formula Car School, winning a scholarship to come up to run here in USF 2000. So Garzone P1 for D-Force Racing. And these are, for a lot of these drivers, just kind of settling in, getting a feel for it midway through. Garzone, Jeffers, McNeely, Gaffera, D-Force Exclusive, Jay Howard, Pabst. 4 different teams in the top 4. G3 Argyros now in 5th, Joshua Leonel 6th, Anthony Martella 7th, Teddy Musella 8th, Eddie Beswick 9th, and Brad Majman in 10th. Beswick, the reigning Australian Formula Ford champion with Synergy Motorsport, starting a satellite team here in the U.S. for Eddie. The concept is to build a base of operation here and potentially become the satellite team for the drivers coming out of Australian Formula Ford. Come on over to run in the U.S., run with a team you're familiar with, potentially an Australian-based team, as opposed to coming over running with a team here. So we've seen so many Australians come over and run with different teams and do so well. And, again, this could be that direct line for drivers coming from Australian Formula Ford. A
familiarity that hopefully helps facilitate bringing over more talented drivers.
So Garzone's fast lap, a 112.611. just a little quicker now than Joshua Leonel, who has improved up. Joshua Leonel, I'm loving the fact that he's showing good pace here right now. Joshua, 3 years in a row, the runner-up of the Skip Barber Formula Race Series, moved to USF Juniors last year, missed the opening weekend, and had a lot of bad luck throughout the year, but was showing some flashes of brilliance. He's got great speed here in this USF2000 car and has been top 10. He was there last week at spring training as well, and Leonel looking to make sure he's a top 10 fixture here in 2025. Garzone, Leonel, McNeely, Musella, Jeffers. And again, early in the run, still 11 minutes to go. I hesitate getting too excited about where drivers are on the racetrack, Todd, because you and I both know from the experience we've had here in qualifying for USF 2000, we're likely going to see it in the last couple of laps.
Things change quickly, as we have seen, and we're just approaching the middle point of this guaranteed 20 minutes of green time now. This was about the time that we saw a couple of drivers start to make the tire change in the USF Pro 2000 series. With the red flag, that'll impact the timing just a little bit, but shouldn't be far off if anyone is going to make the switch.
Todd, I kind of looked a little bit at what the delta was. We're looking at about 3.5 to 4 minutes, maybe 4.5 minutes. So again, with 10.5 to go, if you came in right now, you'd probably be back out for another 6 minutes maybe on the racetrack, which again could be 5 laps with the lap times we're turning here. We'll see if we see any drivers come into pit lane. Looks like a couple have come in. Pabst Racing have brought in both Caleb Gaffera and G3 Argyros. Those drivers into pit lane to potentially make changes. Does anybody else make that run into pit? Right now, it's just the 2 Pabst cars. Everybody else staying out onto the racetrack now. Garzone still on top in that white and blue number 12 for D-Force Racing. There comes Eddie Beswick, I believe, in the Synergy Motorsports machine. He may be into pit lane now as well. Liam McNeely and Teddy Musella have come into pit lane. Not sure we're going to see everybody in here right now, but they are coming in. Jack Jeffers improves up into the second spot. Jeffers with a 1:12.513. Garzone still quicker, though. 1:12.289. So pretty good gap there for Garzone over Jeffers. At least a tenth and a half potentially, but again, long way to go with 9 minutes remaining in the session. We don't want to jump the gun too much.
And again, the Pabst, I believe, were the first teams in the USF Pro to make the call, and then the other teams have followed here as well. We'll wait and see what they're able to do in the final 5 or 6 minutes of this qualifying session of guaranteed green flag time. So interesting to see if there's going to be improvement, but boy, is it tight up at the top of the sheet.
It is.
1:12.2, 1:12.4, 1:12.4.5, 1:12.6.
Quick lap there for a Leonel. I believe Garzone into pit lane. Who else we got in pit? Martella and Beswick, as I had mentioned. Brady Golan, I think, into pit lane as well. A number of drivers diving down. We have not seen the exclusive cars yet. 8.5 minutes remaining. Will Jack Jeffers elect to potentially stay onto the racetrack? There's G3 Argyros in the 23 and Christian Cameron as well. Cameron in the number 19 for VRD Racing. Just 14 years of age. He'll turn 15 in March. Although 15 years of age is the limit for our series. He was part of the program last year, so he gets grandfathered in here for 2025. Moving forward, 14 for juniors, 15 for USF 2000, 16 for USF Pro 2000, the minimum age for the drivers in all the programs.
And we have seen drivers right around that minimum age in all of those programs. It's fantastic to see the progress that they have made through their careers to this point, whether it's up through karting or other areas and then moving into race cars. It's spectacular to see.
Indeed. You see a couple drivers weaving back, and that's Martella. He's put fresh rubber on, so Martella trying to get some heat built into those Continentals. 7.5 minutes remaining. Garzone, Jeffers, Leonel, Gaffera, and McNeely. In the pit right now, Brad Majman and Eddie Beswick still in pit lane for Synergy Motorsports. So 2 drivers in pit lane right now. We have not yet seen the exclusive Autosport team, as I said, with Jack Jeffers, Lucas Facuri, and Evan Cooley. Right now, Jeffers runs second, Cooley in 8th, Majman 9th. I wonder whether or not they're going to elect to potentially try to have sticker tires for both races.
And that's the question we debated in the USF Pro 2000 series is if you choose not to split this session of qualifying and use 2 fresh sets of tires, you will have fresh tires for both races. Does it mean you may start a row further back, but later on in that race, having the fresher tires, that's when that difference may come in.
I 100% agree. Listen, that's the balancing act. Which way do you want? What does your driver do? Do you think your driver can put 2 good laps in here and you don't waste those tires and potentially have sticker tires for both of the races where you may have that little bit extra at the end? We'll see. Again, into pit lane, Timmy Carell now for Jay Howard. Still Beswick in pit lane, and I believe Christian Cameron has made the move to pit lane as well. This is late, 6.5 minutes to go. You're only going to get a couple laps when you get back out onto the track, knowing you're at least a 3.5 to 4 minute delta on the pit lane. Not easy, of course. These aren't IndyCar stops. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, these are not the 8 or 9 second stops with impact guns on all 4 corners. This is a process to change 4 fresh tires on these USF2000 cars.
Yeah, it's usually rears first. They jack the rear up, get the rear tires done because you only have an X amount of drivers over the wall to be able to work on the car. So they do the back of the car first, the front of the car, and then they go back to work. So it does take some time. It's not, of course, the quick release. They're not coming out and getting it all done. There's, I believe, on the left side, you can see the drivers coming back onto the track. One of them 100% with Eddie Beswick. He's currently 13th. Still over 5.5 minutes remaining in the session. Garzone, Jeffers, Lionel, Argyros now up to 4th. Gaffera 5th. Cooley now up to 6th. 7th is McNeely. 8th, Masella. 9th, Fakurian. 10th, Majman. Again, Thomas Schrag, the driver who brought the early red out. So he'll start at the back of the pack in 19th in the race this afternoon. Number of drivers trying to get out of the way of those cars coming through on them. Others getting caught up just at the wrong time. There's not much you can do at all there to pick up which exclusive Autosport car got caught up there. Might have been Jeffers in the 92. Yeah, there's Jack Jeffers right there. He's currently P2. He got caught up a little bit. Not so much. I want to say that Eddie Beswick there did a tremendous job staying out of the way, staying inside. There's the 18 of Brady Golan. Listen, there's not much you can. If you catch a driver up, he's got to go to the apex sooner or later. Coming through that 8-9 complex is super tough.
That's exactly it. Whether it's through 8, 9, and 10, it's where you happen to meet the traffic. And if
that was Jack Jeffers coming into pit lane. 4.5 minutes to go. Very surprising.
That's late.
That is a late run for Jeffers into pit lane right now. He is currently P2. Are they going to? Maybe he's going to count being done because, like I said, we're only 4.5 in. Do they change tires? I don't know for Jeffers. Maybe they'll want to go out and just do one set of scuff one lap. That's always a possibility as well. Because remember, out of the gates, your tires, if you've even scuffed them in a lap, you're going to have that one little heat cycle in them. They're going to come on a little bit quicker at the start of a main event. I didn't get a chance to talk strategy when I was back for a quick lunch break there between sessions. But otherwise, Caleb Gaffera has gone P1, a 112.286. Gaffera for Pabst Racing, the rookie, has gone to the top of the charts. Garzone second, Jeffers third, Lionel fourth, Cooley fifth, Argyros sixth. Wow. Big one there for Gaffera as he pips Garzone by, what's it look like? Maybe a little over 0.02 of a second. A 112.286 to a 112.288. Little over 0.02 of a second. Gaffera quicker than Garzone to steal away the provisional pole position. Remember, a bonus point as well before we go to the race this afternoon.
Always thinking about the championship. Nice to have those bonus points if you can collect them for fast lap and for leading the most laps in a race. But if you get one, there we've seen it once or twice, cars locking up, heading towards corner number 4, just that right front. Important that the drivers get off that brake very quickly. You don't want that car flat spotting that right front tire.
Exactly. And again, if you've done it, you've got to take that tire over to the race. That's the big issue right now. Because remember, you've split tires. You have one fresh set of tires still. You've used 2 in this session. That flat spot one, maybe one you're not going to use, obviously, when we go racing. Time winding down. Just over 2.5 minutes remaining. Gaffera still on top. Garzone, Jeffers. Argyros now works his way up into 4th. G3 Argyros now to P4. Lionel in 5th. Jeffers, it says everybody active right now, so Jeffers may have already went into pit lane and got back out. We'll see whether or not he can put a flyer in at the very end. Oh, someone's lost a wing on the front straightaway. We've got some debris on the front chute. Yep, someone's had some wing damage there. That could potentially cause a yellow flag. Drivers all work, but remember the timing line's in the back. So if I'm on the track right now, I'm hustling to try to get out there before it ends. 2 minutes remaining. Now, granted, if it's no longer in the racing line, race control, we're not racing, right? So the race control may leave it green. That's a definite possibility as long as there's no, they think, debris in the racing line.
But these are the things that can occur when you think about, oh, maybe I will make that pit stop for fresh tires and try to split this qualifying session. You don't know when the cautions are going to fly.
That's exactly right. Gaffera on top. Liam McNeely has now moved his way up into second. Garzone third. Jeffers, Argyros, top 5. So Gaffera still holding the spot. He went quicker again that last time by to 112.169. So Gaffera finding more speed. Remember, in that first session today, earlier on in the practice session, Jack Jeffers and Evan Cooley, exclusive Autosport, went 1-2 with a 112.5. We've dropped it down 0.4 of a second here in the high heat of the afternoon, 71 degrees trackside. Still a minute remaining. Jeffers, we believe, still on the racetrack. Last time by, I believe he did a 112.5. He's going to have to find a half a second if he wants to displace Gaffera from P1 into the final minute. Qualifying here for USF2000. Caleb Gaffera on top again by about 0.06 of a second over Liam McNeely, the J. Howard driver development driver, second place last year in USF Juniors. McNeely making the move up. 30 seconds to go in the session. This is where they'll dig it in here, folks. Which driver can pull it out here on the final lap? Remember, lots of tires left. A majority of the field coming in to put on fresh tires halfway through. Jeffers goes quicker. He goes a 112.2355. He'll get this final lap. He just came across the line, so here we go. Into single digits. Remember, alternate timing line coming out of the chicane of 11 and 12. Here comes the number 90. That is Evan Cooley. He is currently back in the 8th spot. Cooley in 8th. But again, checker flag going to come out here right now. Everybody gets to finish the lap they're on. Can they get back to a timing line with a quicker circuit? Gaffera, McNeely, Jeffers, Majman, and Garzone. Both Majman and Jeffers turned their personal best laps in the final circuit. This is where they got to dig deep. Right now, it's Caleb Gaffera on top of the 112.168. Will the rookie go P1 in his first ever qualifying session in the USF Pro Championships? He was a Skip Barber Racing School driver, won races there, went to British Formula Ford to do a couple of races last year, did a couple of Champ Car races too, a bunch of different sports car events, still a top driver in karting. This is Evan Cooley. Does he have anything at the end? Joshua Lino goes to 3rd. Here comes Cooley across the line. Can he go better? He was 8th. He'll come to the alternate timing line. And we'll wait to see if live timing updates for Evan Cooley. Right now, it's Caleb Gaffera. On top, you see the remnants of the shattered wing on this front straightaway. And as it caps off, I believe the remainder of the drivers coming through. I don't want to jump the gun too early with more drivers on the racetrack still here. You can see more drivers coming through. Caleb Gaffera, I believe, has grabbed the pole position, a 112.169. Gaffera goes P1 for Pabst Racing. Talk about a debut statement. The young driver from Charlotte, North Carolina. Gaffera in the 24 puts it on the pole alongside Liam McNeely. Pabst Racing, Jay Howard, D-Force and exclusive, your top 4. Joshua Lionel leading the D-Force crew. He'll go to 3rd. The driver out of the Woodlands, Texas, goes P3. And then Jack Jeffers, who top practice this morning, ends up in the 4th position. The gap between 1st and 4th, about, I want to say, 0.07 of a second. Brad Majman for J. Howard Driver Development ends up in 5th alongside Sebastian Garzone, who led the way for a majority of that run. Teddy Musella and Evan Cooley will be on row 4. G3 Argyros and Brady Golan rounding out the top 10. Lucas Fakuri ends up 11th. Christian Cameron in 12th. Anthony Martella and Eddie Beswick 13th and 14th. Ayrton Hauk and Ryan Janetta 15th and 16th. Timothy Carell, Vian Basov, and Thomas Schrag round out the field. Schrag, that instant, of course, as we know, on the opening couple of laps over in turn number 10. He was not able to get a lap. He'll be looking for a fast lap in race 1 to set at least some kind of a time to move up the order in race number 2. Nonetheless, rookies dominating the action as the top 8 drivers, Todd, all first-year drivers in the series. Gaffera, though, it is USF Pro Championships debut. Didn't even run juniors. Straight out of Skip Barber and British Formula Ford, and said some sports car racing last year as well. Not much of it. A lot of karting at Trackhouse Motorplex down there in Mooresville, North Carolina. Talk about a debut for Caleb G. He goes P1 in the 24.
Tremendous accomplishment to come to this challenging street circuit here on St. Petersburg. 1.8 miles, 14 turns, surrounded by concrete, but to put in a quick lap like that and start on the pole for race number 1 in the USF2000 Championships, that's an accomplishment.
A lot of these guys, Todd, go back and talk about the Supercarts USA Super Nationals. I bring that up all the time, all the karting these guys have done. That's a temporary street circuit in a parking lot, usually at the Rio Hotel. This past couple of years out of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, a guy like Caleb Gaffera and some of these kids, they're used to running within plastic barriers. They know to stay off the barriers when you're doing a street race like that, so they'll lean on that experience running at the Super Nationals. And that, to me, for Caleb Gaffera to lay this down, talk about making a statement out of the gate.
That's fantastic. Great to see. And as you mentioned, so many rookies in this field. We did have just the one incident with Thomas Schrag, and we'll see how he can bounce back during the race. That will wrap up our day here in St. Petersburg. 4:45, that race goes green this afternoon.
Indeed, folks. So there you have it. Caleb Gaffera, P1, Liam McNeely in second, Joshua Leonel third, Jack Jefferson fourth, and Brad Majman rounding out your Fast Five. And as Todd said, we are going racing this afternoon. Looking forward to getting things underway for that event. This is going to be a good one for sure. Green flag at about 4:45. 4:40 for starting your engines. Look for us to come on and start the broadcast sometime around 4:30 this afternoon Eastern time. Thank you so much, folks, for tuning in. We do appreciate it. On behalf of Todd Lewis and myself, Rob Howden, make sure you get back for race number 1.
Terrific.